Welcome to Charts Today. It is Tuesday, the 26th of May, and we've had a lovely, hot, long weekend here in the UK, and it's warm again today. Interestingly, we've seen some respite for crude oil prices where we've fallen back with the idea that there might be a truce coming. So prices have fallen right back to that 96 level, which is now quite a key level of support. These are the levels, just showing that that's the level there. We have got these downside targets, but we are recovering off the floor there today, and we are seeing gas prices. They were down quite sharply yesterday in Europe, and we're seeing a recovery this morning again. News of U.S. attacks in the Gulf and Iran just now pushing prices higher again. But on the whole, markets are still very much in a risk-off environment. And in fact, the thing I really watch when I'm looking at my energy list is just these columns. So I get a feeling of the long-term trend, the medium-term trend, and the short-term trend. And so watching those changing is quite key. And we'll have a look at some of those when we come to look at some stocks today. So dollar index fairly steady. Most currencies, we're seeing the Japanese yen, that's the risk of some intervention. We are seeing that's just heading a little bit higher. Sterling down a little bit today. The really big one still is the Chinese yuan, where we're seeing that dollar weakness. So even though the dollar's going sideways, that is one to watch. So that's quite key. We're seeing some respite in the bond markets today, which is good news for markets. 2.8 is the level for Japan at the moment, and that's we've seemed to have pulled back from that. We've certainly pulled back in the US and the UK. So we are just seeing some respite in bond markets, less fearful than we were. We saw US markets, we're looking quite strong here. The future, waiting to see if we can activate this upside target on the Nasdaq. This is actually the Nasdaq 100 index, the cash index. So that's Friday's close. It was Memorial Day in the US yesterday as well. The Dow Jones breaking to a new high on the future. So that's quite positive. But we are seeing, even though we're seeing those futures up in the US, we are seeing that European indices are struggling. So we've got the DAX in Germany down. The FTSE is breaking the trend there. We're actually up this morning for the future. But we saw sell-offs in most of Asia. Australia is still looking relatively weak, and the Sensex looking very weak still there, having pulled away from that cloud. We have got a new upside target, but we need to get really back above 79,500 for that to be activated. We talked about Brent crude, just looking at some of the other commodities. Aluminium, that's trying to break to a new high there. That's quite a clear sort of pattern. And copper, we have seen new highs for copper, and that has activated a new upside target. Gold is down by 1%, so that is looking weaker, having activated that downside target. It's starting to look like a descending triangle there, and silver down 2.5%. So the risk off trade is really affecting precious metals. And if we look at some of the soft commodities, we can see here sugar down 2.6%. That is going into a range, but the longer term trend is still bearish. And if we look at the weekly chart, we see that. But we might have found a floor there, so that's certainly one to watch. And the shorter term charts, we can see these downside targets taking us back to the bottom of the range. And so that's where we're seeing the sort of overall markets. Looking at the Dow 30, Merck was a strong performer yesterday, and we can see here This is my long-term, medium-term, and short-term. These custom columns in Updata. The data, of course, is coming from LSEG. If you're running the Metastock Zenith program, that's the same thing for a fraction of the price. Great for feeding prices into Updata. You can see here we've got quite a lot of sixes. We haven't got any minus sixes in the Dow, so that's positive. We can see the more bearish stocks at the bottom of this list. So that just tells me roughly where to go, if you like. So I've now ranked in terms of bullish trend, and we've got Merck looking pretty strong. Apple, that's also looking interesting. And again, the short-term trends will also just show you. So Merck had that upside target given last week at 115 to 122, and that's kind of where we've gone. And we look at the daily chart, we've got a bigger upside target still, and of course the trends are all positive. Travelers Group, another one as well. And if we look at the same thing, we're looking at the Dow. So that was the FTSE. Now, so we're looking at performances in the Nasdaq. Some very big upside targets here. Really strong performance. Chips have just been going mad, really. And then last of all, a look at the FTSE. So we can see here, this is the UK market. So we've got Games Workshop, and then if we look at the top performers today, EasyJet up 6.3. EasyJet there just struggling, but if we look at the percentage changes, we can see that mostly the market is up for the UK. Now, in this ranking, if you'd like to know more about it, do follow me on LinkedIn. On LinkedIn, I've uploaded a paper that I've submitted, and you can actually download the paper and learn all about the ranking and how that works. But it's really quite a good way of understanding trend, and what you want to be doing is looking for stocks that have got these higher scoring marks. So that's really what you want to be doing. But overall, we're seeing markets really taking everything's going on in the Middle East in its stride, and so watching those US futures today opening higher will be key. That's it for today. Have a great day. It's warm outside. Until tomorrow, bye for now.